You're late? My mom said as she stepped out onto the porch, pulling her suitcase behind her. I glanced at the clock on my dashboard, 6:02 a.m., just 2 minutes late. Mom, I said, forcing a smile. I got out of the car to help with her luggage, but then I saw her, my sister Lauren, walking out of the house with her own suitcase in tow. My smile froze. What's going on? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. My mom turned toward me, her expression overly cheerful for the situation. Oh, Violet, we decided Lauren should come instead of you. She's been so stressed lately, and she really needs this trip. My chest tightened. Instead of me. Mom, I've been planning this for years. I paid for everything. She waved a hand dismissively, as if I'd just pointed out something trivial. And, we're grateful, sweetheart. But you're always working so hard you can take another trip later. Lauren needs this right now. Lauren didn't even bother pretending to feel bad. She smirked, shifting her weight onto one hip. Thanks for understanding, sis, she said, her tone dripping with fake gratitude. I stared at them, my heart pounding. A moment later, my dad shuffled outside, avoiding eye contact as he handed me his suitcase. This is unbelievable, I said, my voice shaking. This was supposed to be our trip. Something for me to share with you. Well, it still is, my mom replied with a smile. Just with Lauren instead. Don't make this a big deal. Violet, your sister really needs a break. My name is Violet, and for the past 2 years, I've been working overtime, saving every spare penny to give my parents a trip they'd never forget. Flights, luxury hotels, guided tours. I planned everything down to the last dinner reservation. But standing there in their driveway, watching Lauren get into the backseat of my car, I realized something I'd been avoiding for years. It didn't matter how much effort I put in. In their eyes, Lauren would always come first. I clenched my jaw, biting back, the sharp retort sitting on my tongue. Instead, I forced a tight smile and opened the trunk. Let's get going then, I said flatly. If they wanted to prioritize her over me, fine. But I wasn't about to let them enjoy it. The drive to the airport was suffocatingly quiet, except for Lauren's constant chatter. Oh my gosh, Mom, did you see that TikTok about Paris? I can't wait to shop there. Do you think we'll have time, or will the tours take up the whole day? My hands gripped the steering wheel tighter as I stared straight ahead, forcing myself to stay silent. Of course we'll have time, my mom chuckled. We'll figure it out when we get there. When we get there, they didn't even seem to notice I wasn't part of that we anymore. At one point, my dad cleared his throat. Thank you for driving us, Violet. I know this probably feels unusual. I glanced at him in the rearview mirror. Unusual. That's an interesting way to put it. Dad? He didn't reply, just shifted uncomfortably in his seat. From the back, Lauren leaned forward, her voice grating. You're not mad, right? I mean, this is really big of you, letting me go. I could never have afforded this myself. I clenched my jaw and forced a smile. Of course, Lauren, enjoy the trip. By the time we reached the airport drop-off zone, my patience was hanging by a thread. I helped unload their luggage. Thank you for understanding, sweetheart, my mom said, hugging me. This means a lot to us. And to Lauren? Sure, Mom. Lauren beamed. Thanks, Violet. You're the best. I stood there watching them disappear into the terminal, my chest tight with anger and hurt. The ride back home was a blur. I kept replaying the conversation in my head, each word cutting deeper. This means a lot to Lauren. You're not mad, right? You're always working so hard. When I pulled into my driveway, I sat in the car, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. Then, without a second thought, I marched into the house, pulled out my laptop, and logged into every travel account I'd used to book the trip. Hotel reservations canceled, tours refunded, airline upgrades gone. As the confirmation emails piled up in my inbox, the tightness in my chest began to ease. If they wanted to take Lauren instead of me, fine, but they wouldn't be staying in five-star hotels or enjoying private tours on my dime. When I closed my laptop, a sense of satisfaction settled over me. They could explain themselves to the front desk in Paris. I was done being their doormat. The calls began as soon as their flight landed. My phone buzzed over and over as I unpacked my own suitcase, the one I'd so carefully packed for a trip that no longer belonged to me. The irony wasn't lost on me as I hung up my dresses and placed my shoes neatly back on the shelf. The buzzing kept going, a relentless vibration filling the room. I sighed, picked up my phone, and saw my mom's name flashing across the screen, along with a string of missed calls and texts. Violet, what's going on? The hotel won't let us check in. The reservations gone. Call me immediately. This isn't funny. Fix this now. A laugh slipped out before I could stop it. Fix this? They really thought I'd swoop in and save them after what they'd pulled. The phone buzzed again. This time it was Lauren. I let it ring out, only for her to leave a voicemail. Violet, this is so petty, she snapped, her voice thick with entitlement. We're stuck here because of you. Call the hotel and fix it now. I rolled my eyes and deleted the message without listening further. For years, I'd been their fixer, the one who cleaned up every mess, filled every gap, kept everything running. Not anymore. Eventually, I decided to answer, if only to stop the avalanche of calls. The moment I picked up, my mom's voice hit me like a tidal wave. Violet, what did you do? The hotel says the reservation was canceled, and none of the tours are booked anymore. I canceled them, I said calmly. Thought there was a pause, a long, stunned silence before she hissed, why would you do that? Oh, I don't know, I replied, my voice sharp with sarcasm. Maybe because you decided to take Lauren on my trip? You're lucky. I even drove you to the airport. We thought you'd understand, she shot back. Understand what? I demanded, my voice rising. That years of saving and planning meant nothing because Lauren needed a break. That my effort didn't matter. Guess what, Mom? I don't understand, and I don't care to. I hung up before she could answer, then powered off my phone and tossed it onto the couch. The silence that followed was bliss. If they wanted Lauren to come first, fine, they could figure out the rest without me. The quiet lasted a day. By the next morning, my phone was lighting up again. At first, I ignored it, spending the day cleaning and catching up on work. But by evening, curiosity got the better of me. I unlocked my phone and braced myself for the flood of messages. From Mom, you've gone too far. Your sister's in tears. Your father's furious. And we can't get into any of the hotels you booked. From Lauren, you're acting like a child. Just fix it already. From Dad, We need to talk. This isn't right. I set the phone down, shaking my head. For years, I'd been the one to keep everyone comfortable, to smooth over every rough edge. Now that I'd stopped, they didn't know what to do. The next call came minutes later, and this time, I answered. Violet, my mom barked. This isn't funny anymore. We're stranded. Do you know how embarrassing this is? I took a slow sip of tea. Embarrassing. Try saving 4 years, planning every detail, and then being told you're not even part of the trip you paid for. Stop being dramatic, she snapped. Lauren needed this more than you. And now she can figure it out, I said flatly. You made your choice. You took Lauren instead of me. Fine. But don't expect me to fund her vacation. We're family, she hissed. We don't do this to each other. A bitter laugh escaped me. Funny, I was just thinking the same thing. In the background, I heard Lauren whining. Mom, hang up on her. She's impossible. That was it. Enjoy your trip? I said coldly. Oh, wait, you can't. Because it was my trip. And now it's nobody's. Goodbye. I hung up. Again, turned my phone off, and left it that way for the rest of the night. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. When the sale closed, I thought it was over. But it wasn't. It was only the beginning. Because when the press release went out, it named every male executive who had been in the boardroom that day. It praised their strategic vision and unwavering leadership. My name nowhere. As if I had been nothing more than an empty chair in the corner. I remember staring at the announcement on my screen, my hands trembling, not from sadness, but from something far sharper. Betrayal. It wasn't just that they stole the credit, it was that they erased me entirely, as if my contribution was inconvenient for the narrative they wanted to sell. I went home that night, poured myself a glass of wine, and sat in silence. I thought about the years I had sacrificed, the relationships I had neglected, the parts of myself I had buried just to climb this ladder, and in that moment I realized something brutal. I had been playing by their rules in a game designed for me to lose. The next morning, I came into the office with a different kind of energy, the kind that doesn't ask for recognition, it takes it. I started documenting every deal, every contribution, every late night negotiation. I CC'd myself on every relevant email, and I began quietly building a file. Not because I wanted to sue, not yet, but because I knew that one day I'd need proof. Meanwhile, I began cultivating my own network outside the company. Investors, clients, and even competitors who respected me for what I actually brought to the table. If they wanted to erase me from their history, fine. I would make sure my future was something they could never touch. Asterisk, it didn't take long for the cracks in their empire to show. The deal we'd closed had hidden complexities ones only I fully understood. Soon, calls began coming in from the client, asking questions no one else could answer. Suddenly, the same men who had smiled for the cameras were sending me frantic emails asking for urgent clarification. I gave them what they needed, but never more than that. No extra context, no free solutions. I let them sweat. And while they were busy scrambling, I was working on something else, my own venture. I took the investors I'd been cultivating and pitched them an idea that was sharper, cleaner, and more future-proof than anything my company had on the table. They said yes. Within 6 months, I had a fully funded startup. Within a year, I had half the clients my old firm had once boasted about. That's when the real satisfaction came. Because one afternoon, my former CEO called me himself. His voice was polite, but I could hear the strain beneath it. He wanted to explore collaboration opportunities. I let him finish his pitch. Then I reminded him calmly, without malice, of the time they had erased my name from the press release. I told him I had no interest in collaboration. But if he wanted to hire my company's services, my rates were non-negotiable. He hesitated. Then he agreed that the same men who once refused to give me credit were now cutting me checks. And every time I signed one of those contracts, I thought about the lesson I had learned. If they won't give you a seat at the table, build your own table. And make it so good they have no choice but to sit at it. Asterisk. And so the tables turned. The same hands that once erased my name were now signing contracts with it printed in bold. They thought they could bury me. What they didn't realize was that I was a seed. I grew in the dark. And when I broke the surface, I built something they couldn't ignore. Now, when they sit across from me, it's not out of generosity. It's because they need me, and that, more than any headline, any award, or any applause, is the sweetest revenge